awful discouraging. You know, we do our very best to grow a good crop to feed the world, and then we can't hardly give it away.
Bachmann blames President Trump for the soybean crisis, even though he voted for him. He says new tariffs are forcing China to buy soybeans from Argentina and Brazil. Now many Iowa farmers face selling this year's crop at a huge loss.
The way things are, there won't be a farmer left in 5 years if things don't change, because our expenses are so high, and the crop is worth less than it was 30 years ago.
The result of the tariffs has been devastating for soybean farmers in particular. Currently, 25% of our soybeans grown in the United States goes to China. Right now, China has purchased 0 soybeans. We want to deliver the message to President Trump and his leadership team that we need trade. He's mentioned many times that he loves farmers. Right now, we need to see swift action, or we're going to lose a lot of these farmers that the president loves.
My message is, as I see it from my state of Iowa, it's beginning to look like the 1980s agriculture depression all over. Congress was too slow to respond in the 1980s. Thousands of farmers went out of business in the 1980s, and that should concern all of us, because with only 2% of the people producing all the food for the 98%, we can't let the destruction of the family farmer happen in 2025 like it did in the 1980s.
Good morning. We got us a little bit better news yesterday. Seems like our government's going to give us a little bit of a, I guess y'all going to call it a bailout. It's a subsidy. It's a little bit of a check. It ain't going to be much. It's going to come from some of this tariff money. Thank the good Lord. But just let me be the first one to tell you, farmers in general do not want subsidies. We don't want them at all. We don't want these, what y'all call a bailout. We don't want that. We want a fair trade plan, a good market value. That's what we want for our crop. We can out yield any amount of money the government's going to get us. And furthermore, whatever money they give us, 75 or 80% of that is just going to slip through our hands. It's going to pay off our expenses and our inputs, your diesel fuel, your tires, your equipment payments, your fertilizer, your seed costs, chemical costs, labor costs. It ain't like we're just going to get all these checks and just go willy-nilly buy boats and houses and stuff. That'd be a good idea, but it ain't that kind of money. It ain't that big of dollars. We can out yield it. We can make way more money if they'll just get us a good farm bill and get us a good trade plan, in which I don't know what's coming in the future. This might all be worth it in the end. That's just the way it goes. You don't know what everybody's thinking, and I'm not talking right side of the aisle, left side of the aisle. I don't know what's going on up there. I feel like we're going to get us some kind of little subsidy, a bailout as everybody calls it, and I know y'all are going to be all up in my comments. That's all right. I can take it, baby. It ain't that big a deal. But I just want y'all to know, we don't want the subsidy. Yeah, we're going to take it because we need any help we can get, or we're going broke. And when a farmer goes under, if you live in a rural community, when farmers start taking a big hit and going broke, that trickles down into all your small businesses, all your little boutiques, tire shops, grocery stores, gas stations. When we get hit, y'all get hit in these rural areas. I hope y'all having a great day. We don't want the subsidies. Get off my back. And y'all get after it, baby.
Yo, so the American farmers took another loss. We sent $20 billion to Argentina. Now, I'm going to say we because it's our taxpayer money. So what happened was Argentina got this $20 billion bailout, basically, from America. Then they dropped all their tariffs and taxes on grain exports. China pulled up and bought 20 boatloads of soybeans. Meanwhile, our American farmers who lost billions of dollars are losing billions of dollars currently because of their soybean crops. They have no one to sell it to because they lost the soybean deal. Now, I understand why the farmer's mad, but we're not the ones to be mad at. But I do understand farmers being mad. But we all should be mad because we all have to pay for this. Because first of all, again, that's our money. Trump don't have $20 billion, so he sent $20 billion of our taxpayer money. We also gonna have to pay higher groceries. Yeah, we all gonna have to pay for this. It's your dog D, pray like share, ain't no manual.
Breaking news! A devastating image sweeps through the United States. Hundreds of farmers are destroying their own crops. The reason is as controversial as it is tragic. Donald Trump's new immigration rules have spread fear. Thousands of immigrant workers no longer show up to the fields for fear of raids, arrests, and deportations. The result is alarming. Fruits that will never reach the tables, vegetables uprooted, entire hectares of crops lost. But the most serious thing is what is not seen. If abandoned fields are not destroyed, they become filled with pests. Pests that not only ruin that land, but rather they spread and threaten neighboring crops. Therefore, desperate farmers prefer to burn or uproot their crops before allowing the contagion to spread. The consequences are already visible throughout the country: shortages in the markets, decrease in fruits, vegetables, and even flour, an increase in prices that directly hits families. Let me know what you think.
Are finding out the hard way. Hundreds of them packed into a Baptist church in Brooklyn, lining up out the door, hats in hand, begging for help. Why are they begging for help? Their farms are failing all thanks to Donald Trump, a guy most of them all voted for. Their crop prices have crashed, and costs for fertilizer, fuel, and equipment are through the roof. One farmer says, last year rice paid 40% more. Now we're spending more to grow it, and making less than ever. Some of them are walking away from land that's been in their families for centuries. We're done, one farmer said. My son won't be the 7th generation. Ruining your family's legacy to own the libs. What a great idea. Then one farmer, who spent 39 years in the field, said, Mr. Trump, you looked at me and said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love. Yeah, Fafo's giving you the side eye too, because what the heck was even that? The guy you voted for doesn't even have love for his own wives. What makes you think he's gonna love you? Trump wrecked your markets with his trade war. Trump's farm bill delays help for people like you until next year, and his party is the one cutting the programs that you're now begging to keep. You voted for the people who said government help is socialism, and now you want to bail out? I farm 800 acres with 50-year-old tractors.
In this latest edition of Fuck Around and Find Out, Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, going bankrupt. Nebraska farmers going bankrupt because of Trump's tariffs. They all love to vote for Trump out in Nebraska. Not all, but big majority of them. And look at now. Look what's happening to Nebraska. Going broke because of Trump. Never learn. Some people never learn. The one thing they never learn is that it is immigrants that make America great. Not Trump. He makes America shit.
Why should American taxpayers bail out farmers who are hurting because of the president's tariff policies?
Well, look, I think that the farmers, and I represent a lot of them, and they want nothing more than open markets. There are markets right now that aren't open to some of our commodities. And as a consequence of that, we've got a big harvest coming in here in South Dakota, corn and soybeans, and no place to go with it. So what the president has said is, I'm going to support and I'm going to help our farmers. And so we are looking at, I'm a member of the Senate Ag Committee, have been for some time, and we're looking at potential solutions to make sure that we can help support farmers until some of those markets come back.
While the circus in DC is chewing up headlines, our farmers are stuck with soybeans they can't sell. Senator Thune admitted this morning that our farmers will need another bailout. Why? Because Argentina is undercutting us by selling beans to Beijing at a discounted rate. Beans to Beijing. Somebody should write a song about that. Beans to Beijing. This is all deja vu because during the felon's first term, during his last trade war, his solution was to hand farmers bailout checks funded by the very tariffs that caused the problems in the first place. The felon creates the problems and then solves them even worse. And to make matters worse, the felon gave Argentina $20 billion as a bailout package because their president likes Trump. America first, right? After Argentina, of course. But, you know, that's why the maggots voted for him. Most of these farmers voted for him. Problem is, when our farmers are hurting, we all hurt. Once again, we are the frogs on the scorpion's back.
Good morning. Got a little farming news for y'all. You may or may not know China is the United States' biggest customer for our soybean crop. We need trade deals with them pretty bad because they buy the biggest majority of our soybeans. Argentina and Brazil down in South America, they're our biggest competitor in soybeans and corn. Sometimes they'll raise 2 or 3 crops of corn. They always raise a big soybean crop. But Argentina is a huge competitor for the United States. Well, this week, Argentina lifted a tax, a commodities export tax. I don't know the exact name of what it was. They lifted a tax on exporting commodities, grains, stuff like that. Well, in 2 days' time, China made a really good business deal. They bought 84 million bushels of soybeans from Argentina. That's 30 cargo ships worth in 2 days' time. Good business move by China. Don't blame them at all there. Well, in the meantime, Argentina stopped that, put tax back on because they hit their quota. Well, last night there was some kind of meeting. I don't know what all went down, but I know the biggest part of it that went down. The Argentina economy is pretty horrible. The peso is way below the dollar right now. They done a deal with the United States for some kind of line swap, pretty much a loan. The United States is about to send $20 billion to Argentina. Argentina is going to send $20 billion worth of their peso, which is not worth the same amount as our dollar is. So we're getting kind of the raw end of the deal on that one. And another thing about Argentina, they're not the best in the business about paying their bills back. They're kind of like your sister's boyfriend that don't got no job and don't really like to pay for nothing and rides off of everybody else. That's kind of the way Argentina is. We just sent them $20 billion. All the while, they're sending tax-free China 84 million bushels of soybeans. That don't make much sense. That's kind of like wiping before you poop. Why would you help out your biggest competition and hurt yourself with your biggest customer? I don't understand the deal. I don't know what's going on. I ain't trying to make this political. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you voted for Trump, if you didn't vote for Trump, even if you did, there comes a time you need to start holding people accountable. I don't understand what's going on, but they need to get their head out of their rear end and start helping out the United States and their farming economy before they go to helping South America and other farming economies. I don't know. That don't make a lot of sense to me, but hey, that's just, it bees like that sometimes. You'll have that on them big jobs, but that's the big news. China ain't bought a single bushel from the United States this year. They just bought 84 million bushels from Argentina in 2 days. And the United States thought it was a good idea to go ahead and loan Argentina $20 billion just so their economy can do a little bit better. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong by being a little upset or pissed off, but I hope y'all have a great day. If you don't mind, hit that old like and follow and all that good jazz over there. Y'all get after it, baby. Looks like I unintentionally kicked a hornet's nest with these last couple of posts. And that's not what I was intending to do. I was intending to educate a little bit. And let me help you out a little bit more. And I'm not trying to start another argument. Everybody's saying, oh, you're socialist, all farmers are socialists. No. Just because we receive subsidies don't mean we're socialists, number one. Number two, there's a lot of people saying, well, y'all get money and we don't get nothing. Well, the chances are that y'all don't own a farming operation. Only 1% of the United States are farmers. And another thing is, subsidies go to more than just the agriculture sector. They go to your oil and natural stuff like that. They go to technology. They go to food. They go to transportation, your public transportation. That's all subsidized too. Your lights and all that, your big TVA companies, stuff that get you the power, you know, nuclear, hydropower, however, they're subsidized also. It's not just farming, and we're not socialists by getting these subsidy programs that we get. All that is made to where by us getting subsidies, it makes the average everyday person's food cheaper, gasoline cheaper, energy cheaper if you're in the energy sector. It makes everybody's products a lot cheaper for the common population to buy. If we wouldn't subsidize and we could set our own prices, your loaf of bread liable to be $27. Your gallon of milk liable to be $43. So there's a lot of purpose behind subsidies. Right now, the purpose is it's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. We're trying to get the trade down to where it's fair, and we do have a market. Love him, hate him, whatever. He's just trying to get it to where it's fair for all parties involved and do what's best for us. So in doing that, Trump knew that it was going to put a hurting on the farmers, and he knew that it was because of some of the stuff he's doing with these trade negotiations. So he said, hey, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of money just to stop the bleeding a little bit. I know you're hurting. We got to have you. That's the reason we're getting subsidies. We don't get them every year. This is not an every year thing, and it's not a big money thing neither. I mean, it looks big to somebody that's not in the industry, but really and truly, they're not large payouts as to what we're having to pay for input costs, labor costs, and fuel costs. But just remember, we're not socialist, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. We're trying to get through this all better and together, buddy. And just remember, it's not just agriculture. Transportation is subsidized, food is subsidized, your oil is subsidized, technology sector, it's subsidized too. It's not just us. I hope everybody has a great day. If you don't mind, hit that old like and follow. I sure would appreciate it. Y'all get after it, baby. Good morning. Time to service everything up. Fill it up full of diesel fuel, blow everything off, grease everything, get ready for the day. We're about 3/4 of the way with the harvest. Hopefully we can get a few more acres knocked out today. We'll see. Putting some of that cherry diesel in it. On to the next one, old son. Moving fields. Y'all see all that little fine dust and them little hairs right there? All over up here. Well, it comes from that big unit down there. We like to call that vitamins and minerals. They're really healthy for you. Make you do better, son. Make you do real good. Side spot. Gotta get me some refreshments before I get back on this old bad boy and go round and round for a little bit. Yep. Let's get after it, baby. Slow and steady, baby. Slow and steady. Done with that for a little bit. Got to run back to the bean field. Chris said the combine's losing a few beans, so we got to figure that out. If you're losing beans, it's losing dollars, and this ain't the year to be losing dollars. Well, we found the problem. We have one section of screen where your fan blows up through it, chokes up a little bit, blowing the beans out, overriding it. We have to take every deadgum cover and shield off of it and everything. We got her though. I promise. We got her. She's gonna be back rolling no time. Well, that's a wrap on the night. I'm gonna get little fella out of here. He done went smooth to sleep on me. I hope y'all had a great day. If you don't mind, hit that like and follow and all that good jazz over there. Y'all get after it, baby.
It's true. U.S. soybean farmers are in trouble because 60% of U.S. exports of soybeans go to China, but China canceled all of its imports from the U.S. of soybeans and is now importing soybeans from Argentina instead. U.S. soybean farmers are mad because the U.S. government is sending $2 billion to Argentina to help out their economy, and U.S. farmers haven't gotten a bailout. Bankruptcies of small farms are on the rise. They were increasing in 2024 and they continue to increase in 2025. And this seems to be impacting local economies. Des Moines and Omaha are two metros that have strong ties to the soybean industry. And I can see in our Redfin data that their local housing markets seem to be impacted. 2 out of 5 homes for sale in Des Moines and Omaha have experienced a price drop. Nationally, it's only 1 in 5 homes for sale. So it's definitely something to watch what's happening in the farming sector. It could spread out to the rest of the economy. Farmers are hoping to get a bailout from the US government, but so far that has not happened. And by the way, my name is Daryl Fairweather. I'm the chief economist of Redfin. If you'd like to learn more about the economy and how it impacts you, please follow for more.
Over the next couple of weeks, millions of acres of soybeans will be harvested from fields just like this one in Iowa. But now one of the biggest buyers of those soybeans won't be purchasing from America.
This weather, this dry pattern that we have, there'll be a lot of soybeans coming out here in the next week.
Across Iowa, the combines are moving in full force, and so far, farmers like what they see. But this year, farmers are facing a bigger challenge, one that's far beyond the fields. The Trump administration's tariffs led China to halt purchases of U.S. soybeans, instead buying them from Argentina and Brazil.
That really hurts our prices. And, they're our number one customer in buying our soybeans. So that's kind of the big damper right now.
Tom says federal crop payments can only do so much, and that farmers depend on market access to thrive.
As a farmer, we want to just be able to sell our product, in an open market and be able to do it freely and not have to, get the subsidies or whatever and stuff. I don't think there's a farmer out there that wants any of the subsidy money.
Despite the uncertainty, harvest remains a time to celebrate the year's work.
This is our favorite time of year. We're able to see our hard work come in and, pay down the bills, pay down the loans anyway, and start dreaming of next year already.
Farmers say they'll keep working the fields, but the impact of China's decision looms large over Iowa's soybean market.
The problem is China doesn't want to buy our soybeans because of the trade war. And so prices for U.S. soybeans are plummeting below the cost to produce soybeans. This means farmers who usually 1 year do corn, and then 1 year do soybeans, and then 1 year do corn, and then 1 year do soybeans as part of their crop rotation, are getting screwed in 50% of the years. And it's easy to go, oh, well, then they should just not do soybeans. But remember, 31% of what we produce are soybeans. If we take that much production and push it into cotton or sorghum or wheat, we'll just tank the prices of that below the cost of production, and what happens? More farmer bankruptcies.
Good morning. So it's Monday morning, and it's already started out to be a tough week. Anyway, I'm just wanted to weigh in a little bit because I'm trying to figure out Maga if you have won. The sad part about all of this is that you're losing your jobs. The soybean farmers are just screwed. And not only on top of that, he started the trade war. He screwed y'all the first term with the trade war, and you all almost lost everything. Now you've lost everything, and now your boy gave $20 billion to Argentina so that Argentina can now sell soybeans, your soybeans that you need to sell to China. And he's bailing them out because his little friend did the same thing Trump is doing here and tanked their economy with that Doge type thing, tanked the economy. And now here we are. Also, from what I'm understanding, his friends are going to get billions and billions of dollars because they had invested in Argentina. They're going to lose their investments. Now, because of that $20 billion bailout, Argentina's going to be helped, gave their export taxes down to zero to China. Soybean farmers, you're screwed. And the sad part about it is, after all of this, your hate is so strong, you would vote for him again.
Thank you guys for listening to the videos that we just played along. So the thing is, you have heard from the Americans themselves. These are American farmers. These are American people. Okay, as much as some are not really farmers, they have come out to speak, to actually say their opinion on what is happening in America. And Iowa farmers, they have come out and they're complaining actually because they are almost harvesting their soybeans from the farms. But the question is, how are they going to get the market? Because it's not them to find or look for the market. It's their government that should establish a good relation with a good market outside there. For instance, China. Oh my God, when I just got to know that America also depends on China for so many things. They import so many items to them, and they also export so many things to them. I was shocked actually, because I thought China is an African, kind of. China is so big in terms of their markets and everything when it comes to Africa, because it's like they are in the entire developing countries. But I think I didn't know that also America is part of them, a developed country that exports soybean to them. I used to think like as a developed country, most of the things you do it so that you can sell it to your own people. And it is high time that Americans actually do that, because after seeing the trade wars between China and America, it's high time they start thinking about growing food crops for their own people to sell it to their own people, because at least for them they are capable, and it will be good. They won't be suffering. Recently, the American government introduced, or rather, bailed out Argentina, and that was because the economy of Argentina was like so bad. There was nothing that was going on. It was almost going bankrupt, and yeah, they were saved out by America. They were given actually 20 billion, and Americans came out. They complained, and they were like, "No, to hell! Why is that happening?" Because at the end of the day, the hospitals in America, they're not really like well funded. The schools, they're not good. I mean, the 20 billion that was used to bail out Argentina, it was enough to also to do so many things, like for instance, increase the salaries of each and every teacher in America by 5,000. And America has a very high population. It was also enough to improve the infrastructure and improve everything in each and every hospital in America. That money is too much. It can, because it's $20 billion, not just 20 billion like any other currency. Dollars, and dollars runs the world market. Most of the time it's the number one currency. So Iowa farmers, I don't know what you're gonna do. Yeah, subsidies was introduced. I don't know if subsidy is meant to help the people, the citizens of America, or to further destroy them. According to the farmer that we just listened to in this video, he was like, when they subsidize their goods, what happens is that we are going to sell this produce at a lower price, and that means that everybody can afford. You'll not hear people complaining here and there. But if the government does not subsidize goods for us, or these farming products, or farmers, if they don't actually bail them out, it means they're the ones to decide the prices. And if they say that they're going to sell a liter of milk at 100 or to $200, then that's what is going to happen, or $27, that's what's going to happen. But if there is a bailout, it means that it's going to be affordable. And that is what the government did after there was a lot of complaints from Americans about the government bailing out Argentina instead of bailing out the farmers who are really suffering now. Most of them have thousands of acres of land with soybeans, but they don't have any markets outside there. So I think also the best thing that the government can do is to open up markets. If they have so many markets, then it becomes easier and they're not going to suffer. And also, there is something that really got me wondering. Out of the all Americans, that huge population, only 1% are farmers. I don't know what's happening there, because farming is so good. If you have like the resources, everything, the resources from the farming inputs, the outputs also, and the farm itself, then yeah, you're good to go. These people are billionaires, millionaires, they have good money. But now, remember, most of business people, they depend on loans. And these loans, of course, if they are farmers, they are given at cheaper or affordable rates. So guys, I don't know what you think about. That's one thing that really shocked me. Like 1% of America they're farmers, and then the 99%, what are they doing? That got me shocking. So politicians have come in and they are telling the government that, what, there is a farming crisis. The farming economy is not good at all. It's not good at all. We need to talk about it. Otherwise, it's going to be like the farming crisis that happened in the 1980s. And I don't know what these people will actually, how they'll react, how they will respond. So I'm yet to see. Okay, I'm waiting. I'll be following up on these stories to see what will really happen. Are they going to help the farmers of America? Sorry, not Argentina. Are they going to help them out and sort out the farming economy crisis that is happening in America at the moment? So some farmers are like, we don't really want subsidy. It's not like we are socialists. You know, there was a topic of socialism being talked about recently, and so many people equated to, you know, if you're given any subsidy or welfare or you are supported in one way or the other, it's socialism in short. And that is what you wanted, you got it. But how comes you're saying that you don't want this socialism or the support, and yet you are crying that there are no markets? You are crying that the farming inputs have really gone up. That doesn't make sense. You know, you need to you need to ask for forgiveness from Americans, because when you are bailed out, it's our taxes, the American citizens' taxes, that is being used to bail you out. When Argentina is being bailed out, it's the citizens of America's taxes that are being used, and they're being used without, you know, being, I mean, you work hard, they take your taxes, and the government decides how they're going to use the taxes. I mean, how fair is that? I don't think it's really fair. Soybean farmers are still crying left, right, center. And somebody was like, Nebraska, it's your turn to far for, you know, it's your turn. You voted overwhelmingly for Trump. And I don't know if you thought about these particular outcomes, the consequences. And it's funny that you all knew that if he comes in, this is what he's going to do. It was in his manifesto, and you still believed in him. Actually, the president has destroyed the whole farming economy, and you are here crying. Don't cry, don't even dare, because if we find you somewhere crying about farming, oh, farm there, we will actually slap you and beat you up, because this is what you voted for. You need to be happy for what you voted for. You don't need to cry for what you, or complain for what you chose and voted for. Okay, guys, I don't know what you think about all this situation, but there is a big farming crisis in America at the moment, and I don't know it's gonna save them. I don't know it's going to save them. And anyway, thank you so much. If you watched the clip up to this point, I appreciate your presence. I love you to the moon and back.